It is day 2 of President Biden's trip to the Middle East. Mr. Biden's focus is on restarting diplomatic talks with Iran. The president signed a joint pledge earlier with Israel's interim prime minister. They agreed to never allow Iran to get a nuclear weapon. Ed O'Keefe is in Jerusalem with more.
President Biden, at the start of his trip to Israel, the West Bank, and Saudi Arabia, wasted no time pointing the finger at who's to blame for the U.S. withdrawing from the 2015 Iran nuclear deal.
I think it was a gigantic mistake for the last president to get out of the deal. They're closer to a nuclear weapon now than they were before.
You, in the past, said you'll do anything, and you say it again, that you'll ensure Iran would not acquire nuclear weapons. Does that also mean, sir, that you would use force against Iran? Is that what that means? If needed?
That was the last resort, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The president telling Israeli television he's still committed to restarting stalled talks with other world powers to end Iran's nuclear ambitions, a move that puts him at odds with Israeli officials who've long opposed the talks. Former Israeli military intelligence chief Amos Yadlin.
Israel's purpose is first to stop Iran from reaching the nuclear bomb, and second to stop Iran from entrenchment around the borders of Israel.
Welcome to Israel, our brother Joseph.
Today, the president is set to be awarded Israel's highest civilian honor, the President's Medal, and he'll attend the opening ceremonies of the Maccabiah Games, often called the Jewish Olympics. And he'll meet with former Israeli Prime Minister and current opposition leader Benjamin Netanyahu, who's running again for his old job in upcoming elections. Coming Friday, a trip to Saudi Arabia to attend a regional conference and meet with the country's king and controversial crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman.
All right, let's bring in White House reporter Bo Erickson now. He's in Jerusalem following the president. So, Bo, talk to us about what this joint statement is that President Biden and Prime Minister Lapid signed.
Hi, Vlad. So this trip to Israel for President is basically like one big warning to Iran. And it's just not talk by President Biden and the Prime Minister here in Israel here. They are putting that into words into this declaration. And it is saying that each country will do whatever they can to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. But it's just not about Iran and the declaration. There are other things that the two countries pledged together. It says that both countries firmly reject the BDS campaign, and that's that boycott, divest, and sanction campaign that is kind of ending the international support for Israel. There are two other big things in this declaration as well. It says President Biden reaffirmed his long support of the two-state solution in the declaration, and as well, Israel thanked the United States for setting up the Abraham Accords. That was that deal a couple years ago by the Trump administration that brought together Israel and several Arab nations to kind of warm tensions in the areas too.
So one of the next big things the president is going to be doing in the area is meeting with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas. What more can you tell us about that?
So it's very important when talking about these Israeli and U.S. issues that you also talk about the Palestinian issues as well. And as President Biden meets with these Israeli leaders, the president of Palestine is also watching these meetings, and he's thinking to himself, what should I be expecting when I meet with President Biden tomorrow? And the reports here show that he's not quite happy with what is happening with President Biden. He was not happy, according to local reports, that when President Biden landed and stepped off Air Force One, he said the peace process is not going to happen in the near term. The president of Palestine also wants President Biden to address the Israeli settlement issue as well. It doesn't really look like that is going to be addressed verbally by President Biden publicly. And another element that he wants President Biden to address is a potential consulate in East Jerusalem for Palestinians. That consulate used to exist, but it got rid of under the Trump administration, and they really want that to be re-implemented. On the way here, National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said that there needs to be more conversation between Israel and Palestinian leaders before that consulate starts up again.
And Bo, the president is traveling to Saudi Arabia tomorrow. You along with him. What can we expect from the visit?
So, yes, he is going to Saudi Arabia tomorrow, and on Friday night he's expected to meet the King Salman, and also that controversial Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And he was just asked in the press conference a couple hours ago here in Jerusalem if he is going to bring up Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi's name to the Crown Prince. Well, President Biden did not respond to that question. All he said is that when he talks to the Saudis, he always brings up human rights, and if people are doubting him that he will at least talk about human rights with the Saudis, well, then they are not paying attention, President Biden said.
All right, Bo, thank you very much.